Ooh, hello, my friends. It's me, KP. I'm here in my studio, The Moon and the Maker, home of Art Foamies, and I'm here for Art Foamy Fun Friday. And it's June 20th. I think I have the days right this time, so that's a good thing. I want to welcome all my friends. Let me say hello like I do. Krabby Abby, Patty, Catherine, Anna Lee, Sue, Janice, Karina, Evelyn, Pam, Sharon, Ellen, Amy, oh my goodness, Phyllis, Ginger, Renee, oh, Ron McFarlane, also known as Patty, is in the house. Nice to see you. Willow Wanders, yay. Um, D. Ray, thanks for coming, everybody. If I missed you, you know I didn't do it on purpose. We are here tonight with nothing new. How about that? No, I'm super excited to say that we have had so many amazing new art foamies and new launches, new artists coming out. But tonight, we're just taking it a little easy and we're going to talk about ink foamies and different ways to ink up your stamps. We're going to talk about scrap buddies. We're going to have a little demo, and of course, we'll have the numbers game. Willow Wanders from Fodder School, or actually not from Fodder School, Fodder School. Fodder School Willow Wanders launched a fabulous collection last week. I have had so much fun using it. I hope you all love it as much. I know you all do, but so we'll be, sharing some of her stamps again tonight because we get to just play a little bit. Okay. So Brianna, welcome. Nice to have you here. Kathy Whitney is in the house. Thanks for coming. I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to talk about ink foamies and scrap and stamp buddies and different ways to not only ink and paint your stamps, but also different ways you can use the ink foamies to make, to get makey too. Dana, Jack, and friends, and Christina, welcome. All right, I'm gonna turn this camera around. Okay, so ink foamies. I'm gonna set this aside for a moment and just talk to you about ink foamies. I know, gosh, you know what? I can't even remember exactly when we came out with these. The days and weeks and months are just flying by, but I believe it was this spring or summer. Does anybody remember? Because I sure don't. Anyway, ink foamies are my innovation, born out of things that I use and do in my studio. Okay, so ink foamies come in two sizes. They are large, which are about, I think, 3.5 by 3.5-ish. Let me just make sure I'm telling you right. Oh, no, about 3 inches on the large. And the minis, okay, are about a little over an inch, okay? So you got the regular ink foamies and ink foamy minis. And they come in 3 shapes as well. 3 shapes and 2 sizes. Okay, so you got a heart, a square, and a circle in both sizes. And they are foam, okay, very similar to the foam that is the art foamies, okay? However, it is a gray foam, a light gray foam. Oh, Ginger, thank you so much. Yes, spring. I think I want to say like April. No, I don't know. I can't remember at all. I have to, Maxie will know, or I can probably just look back on Instagram, actually, and that'll tell me. Anna Lee, person turquoise waving. Not sure what that means, but how about person hot pink waving back? How about that? Lydia Leonard, welcome. All right, so again, ink foamies are foam, but they are a different color. And the reason, and they're a little bit different of a density as well, and they are a little bit thinner, if you can see that. Not quite as thick as the actual art foamies, okay? But close. All right, the reason I wanted to do it in the light colored foam is so that you could see the colors that you put on, okay? I do want to mention to you a couple of things. If you see the QR code on the back, if you scan it, you can find a little video that will give some basics about ink foamies, but of course now I've been using them longer. Really need to do a new video, but I also thought it would be great to come here and share with all of you because I do get a lot of questions about how I ink up my art foamies, okay? So the reason why I created these, I don't know how many of you have ever or do remember or have used a foamy friend, okay? A foamy friend was something that I also innovated back right when I first took over Art Foamies because I wanted a larger flat surface to be able to spread ink around, okay? So I do want to let you know that this is not really considered an ink pad, okay? I mean, although it does work in similar ways, okay, of a regular traditional ink pad. I'll show you this. It does not hold the ink or paint the same, okay? It's not quite as absorbent. If you look at a regular ink pad, okay, it is obviously much thinner, generally much smaller, okay, and or at least different shape. This is probably about 3 by 2.5. It's more ATC size, yeah, about 3 1/4 by 2. So it's a little bit harder for me. I mean, I do want you to know that I do use, you know, ink pads sometimes to load up my art foamies. However, I find it a little bit cumbersome. Also, it's not quite as juicy as you need it sometimes, you know, and it's a little more limiting. Okay, so I, for many moons, had been using flat pieces of foam, or even sometimes, I won't lie, the backs of some of my art foamies. But a couple things I did not like. I didn't like the fact that I couldn't see the color. Okay, it's a little bit harder to make, like, you know, great gradients or, you know, rainbow pads and stuff when you can't really see the colors. So I wanted something lighter, but I also wanted something that I could actually use more as a spreader, okay? And while I'm saying all that, you can also use these as actual, like, stamps too, okay? So sort of, you know, triple threat, if you will. So I do use ink on these, and generally I am using either my Daylight Super Brights or my Moonlight Hues on here. Although, of course, excuse me, you can use anything, okay? Pretty much you can use any kind of ink. You can use your distress inks. You can use your water, you know, your like your watercolor dye inks. You can use watercolor directly on here too. You can use watercolor sticks or Derwents, okay? You can even use acrylic paint or gesso, anything that you want. However, if you do use anything acrylic based, okay, you're gonna want the same with your, if you use anything like your acrylic paints or your acrylic wash or anything like that, you want to wash them out because they will get hard and crusty, okay? One thing that I love having on hand is my spray bottle of isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, because you can clean these off and reuse them again and again. For those of you who watch me, you know, a lot, who join me on my Patreon or have seen me work with these, you know I do get them quite grungy, okay? And I will even mix inks and paints right on here. So I can kind of share with you. Let's show. I mean, I do admit to you that I have a lot of them because I do like to kind of keep different colors, you know. However, I will also mix the colors on here, and then I can take my alcohol, okay, and clean them off pretty well using just some paper towels or baby wipes and my rubbing alcohol, you can get it clean enough to where, now I might not be able to get it all the way back to being super pristine, okay, but I can get it to where it's clean enough to reapply whatever color and bring it back to its, bring it back to pink or whatever. But a lot of times I also love, here I'll just show you, to create gradients. So you can do it this way. And I know I told you I would talk about scrap buddies as well. So lots of times I will use my scrap buddies to smear around my ink. I'll show you scrap buddies just in case. Now we have stamp and scrap buddies. Stamp buddies are just scrap. So stamp buddies are the same as scrap buddies. It's just that the stamp buddies come in 3 sizes. These are scraps of those, so they may always be different. Like these happen to be very kind of uniform. They're not always that way. Sometimes you'll get like a little skinnier sliver. Sometimes they'll be a little bit shorter. And generally you get 4. Sometimes you might get 5 if they're a little more scrappy, okay? Anyway, sometimes I do use these to spread, especially if I want to make like rainbows or gradients. But I also do use my mini ink foamies to do spreading on here as well. That's really kind of, up to you on, what kind of tools you like to use. Also keep in mind, scrap buddies, you can wash them out and you can use them, reuse them, but they are a little bit more disposable, especially if I use these with acrylic and they get kind of crusty, I will throw them away. Okay, but if you use inks, you can store them in a baggie. You can reactivate inks also with a little bit of your spray alcohol. So anyway, I'm just here. You can see I put a little bit of pink. I put some of my purple, and I'm going to put some of my blue just to show you how I might load up my pads a little bit differently. And keep in mind, if I want to make it a little more pastel-y, I could add some white. Oops, now I'm making a little bit smushy, not quite as stripy if I keep going over it like that. And we can stamp that. I'm just going to stamp on my blotter paper for now. Ta-da! So you have that, right? Not that I'm necessarily going to use it that way, but you can also use that for a nice gradient on your art foamies. Let me spritz it with a little rubbing alcohol. Ooh, Pancake and Lulu is in the house. Stephanie Martin, Maureen, Lulu. Thanks for coming. Oop, I didn't ink up my middle finger. So you can see, the versatility basically in the pad. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. And of course, the different shapes are just in case you want to use them as stamps, but generally the square is going to give you the most ink pad-like application, okay? Again, lots of times I use them as little spreaders. You can also use even your small little ink foamy. Let's see, let's go ahead. We'll load this one up with some more pink because it's my favorite color. And you can use it, even the small ones, to load up your stamps this way. And it's kind of nice too because it gives you, you know, a little bit of versatility if you only want to ink part of the stamp, right? Now, again, I want to just reiterate that these are not super, these are not super duper absorbent. They're not holding a ton of ink. So you may have to reapply your inks in order to continue to, you know, ink up, especially a larger stamp, okay? So that, but I do have some other fun stuff to show you. I love, this is one of the new Will of Wonder stamps and I love it. I'm going to show you another fun thing to do with that. Oh, Kathy, that heart in hand is one of mine, a KP, and it does come in a large size and a small. And it is really fun, you know, because it has that hand where you can leave it either like nice and open to fill in or go ahead and stamp it in. And of course, you know, you have the heart if you want to use it separate. I do have, I thought I had oh yeah, I have a cute little sample we did yesterday with the large one. You know, and I have Willa's, one of her eyeball stamps right here. And I want you to know, I do keep one black sort of loaded up, and it does work more as a regular ink pad. So cute together, right? Okay, so let me clean my hands real quick, and then I do want to show you a couple other fun ways to use the ink foamies. So here were a couple sort of just fun little samples I did. This one, you know, I do Dexies, the large 5x8 Rolodex art, and it's sort of how I'm keeping my journal this year. And this is just so fun and fast and fabulous, okay, as a background or even really just as art. I think you could do this on panel in some really cool colors and do like a little series and frame them, and it would be, I mean, obviously not with the date, but you could do frameable sort of modern art. This is a really fun background journal page, of course, using a couple other art foamies. So whatever imagery that you have that you want to sort of mix in is super fun. And I'm going to just show you how to do that. I have a piece of 5x8 paper because that's the size I'm doing my Dexies. You know, let me get a piece of newsprint here. I like to have something under me there. And then I am going to pull out one of the stamp here. This is my gradient dots from like my mega imprint pad that I did, and I want to use that in conjunction with, but really anything graphic that you have. Okay, so if you have, oh my gosh, any of like Julie Balzer's, what, I can't think of the one, I can't think of the name of it, but it's like little, almost like horseshoe shapes. I think that would be amazing. Donna Downey has a bunch of dots. I think Julie also has some gradient dots. Anyway, just some fun pattern, graphic patterns, okay? So here I am going to just pull out my circle. Let me get a different square, one that I already have inked up here. Circle a square, get a small, and keep hanging out. We'll play not yet and don't start without me, but later when I say, we'll play the numbers game later, and then we'll also, I have a little sneak peek for you, so I hope you'll hang around. But this demo will be pretty quick. All right, so I am going to, I'm going to use same colors here. I'm going to clean these up just a bit. As you can see, I have some other gradient colors. I want it to be pretty solidly my neon pink, my pink crush. So I'm just going to clean this off. You can see I've mixed a lot of white into this. So I'm going to reapply my pink. Why do things literally disappear right when I literally just had them in my hand? I swear I had, I don't know. I thought I had a small pink square, and it seemed like it just got up and walked away. So I just loaded that up with my pink crush. Patty, the heart in the hand, do you have the small one? Heather Bailey, welcome. All right, and then I have, this was red, if you can believe it. This is the, oh, I can't even remember my, you know, it's terrible because I don't have names on my bottles. These were all prototype bottles, so I can never remember the names of my own ink. I think it was Lava Red or something like that. Also, I do admit to you that I like to clip the tops of my ink bottles because they come out so slowly. However, you have to remember if you do that, that they're cut, because if you don't, they pour out. And remember, these aren't super absorbent. It isn't like regular ink pads that are made of felt, right? That felt, they have a little bit of sponge. It's super absorbent, okay? So that's why a lot of times I will take an ink, scrap buddy and move it around this way, because I don't want it like pouring over the edge, okay? So this mops it up a little bit, and that's okay because I can also still use this as well. All right, so there I have my pink ready to go, my red, and I just need yellow. You know, it doesn't look like I really have a yellow square anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and get a new ink foamy for myself. Elsie Waterus, how are you? Nice to have you here. All right, and this is my yellow star, or yellow starlight. Is it yellow starlight? Yeah. Again, I want to get my scrap buddy so that I can sop up a little bit more of that ink, okay? Get a nice even coverage. All right, so I'm ready to go with my large ink foamies, and I think I will just probably use this small one too. All right. I'm going to clean this just so I don't get any real muddy colors, okay? And for those of you who don't know this, a lot of times if my art foamy is stained or has any crusty acrylic or just a leftover residue of color, I also will spray that with some rubbing alcohol and clean it really well, so that I don't, again, get muddy colors, okay? Okay, so I'm ready to start my stamping. So also trying to kind of keep clean because I don't want my fingerprints and everything. And one more time, I am going to take that same Scrap Buddy and I'm just going to wipe these off just a bit. Again, I don't want them to be overly juicy. Okay, so I'm just going to clean those off a little bit. Maybe even blot. I'm going to blot this one just a little. All right, so here we go. And I'm just going to start stamping them. And I could do it a little bit straighter. Just right over the top. The color mixtures are really nice. You can see where they overlap. And I will say, when you're off stamping, okay, it's gonna cause little linear, you know, like it's gonna remove some of the color. So if you want it to be solid, if those lines in any way bother you, if you want them to be more solid, then you're gonna want to load it up and sort of reapply in between. And remember too, you could be doing this with acrylic or gouache if you want it to be have a little bit more viscosity or opacity, whatever. So play with your mediums as well. Ooh, that was really dark. Okay, that's okay though. And my circle isn't perfectly round on this one, so maybe you want to give it a little twist. I don't know. And now I'm going to take and just go over with a little black gesso. And the reason I'm using black gesso is because I want it to be really dark and opaque and a little bit matte. Could also go over it. I might go first with a little bit of this red. Linda Finney, nice to see you. I've been thinking about you. And I'm just doing it kind of light, okay? Tapping that kind of lightly. I'm going to just go right over that there. And maybe up here. That looks good. And then that black is going to give really just a nice pop of color and make it really bold and graphic. And that I will just go ahead and take one of the Scrap Buddies I was using, okay, no big deal, and load that with a little of my black gesso. And try to line that up, and it doesn't have to line up perfect. I don't mind if it's offset a bit. Kind of cool. And maybe I'm going to off stamp it so it's a little lighter and hopefully more even, and then we'll just do it here. Oh, this way. And that is that. And like I said, I think this would make a great journal page. If you also even wanted to add like a little journal spot there, or maybe even use it as sort of a scrapbook page. I think it's really effective and something that's super quick and easy and a fun way not only to use your ink foamies to load up and ink your other art foamies, but to use them as actual imagery. So when I want to make a Dexie out of this, all I do then is round my corners, cut, line up my notches and cut them out, and voila, Dexified. Anyway, this one I'm just going to show you real quick too. I just have a piece of sort of, you know what, I'm going to trim this up just a bit. I'll be right back. Excuse me. All right. Oh, Lee, it's okay. We're still here partying. So for this, and I'm just going to kind of show you really quickly, and I don't have like all the same stamps. I didn't pull these same stamps. So I'm just going to kind of show you, you know, how I did this, because of course you can use whatever imagery that you want, right? So let me clean these off really quick because I did do this in a rainbow and it has black on it now. Clean that up. All right, so that's clean. And then I do want to make, let's see, let's make a rainbow pad out of, I have another square. I guess I don't have another square here. So let's just, I'll clean this off and we'll start fresh, okay? This was the one that was new that I turned into yellow pads. So I'm just going to clean it off with my alcohol. And that yellow is a strong color. No, oh, yes. Thank you, Catherine. Oh, good, Ginger. Yeah, these, you know, I think sometimes people expect them to be a little more like an ink pad, but really I just think of them sort of as a hybrid between a pad, a spreader, and sort of a plate, you know. And I don't want to say gel plate because obviously it is not gel. Mine's moving around. It needs to be stuck down a little bit better. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make a rainbow pad on here. Use a little bit of my pink crush across the top. I'm going to use my coral fire next. My yellow star. My green clover. No, I'm just kidding. I do have green. Yes, and of course, again, I just want to reiterate again that it doesn't have to be these inks. It can be anything. But, you know, I'm a sucker for the fluorescence. But whatever, if you want to do, you know, earthy tones, great. You should do that. Also, if you mix this with white, you're going to get more pastel-y, right? You can also use a brayer. There you go, you got a rainbow, okay? So now, and let me get my blue. Well, it's kind of blue. Oh, mine are just a mess now. I know a lot of you are way more pristine and neat with your stuff than I am. I admit that I'm a mess, but you know, it's just how I roll. Oops, now I'm making it rainbow again. I didn't mean to do that, but it's okay. I am going to blot just a bit because I don't want it super juicy. Well, shoot. I actually need another scrap buddy, or you know what? I'll just use another ink foamy to mush it out a little more. Again, because it's the same with my art. I just want you to know the reason why I want to make it, you know, kind of even is because it's just like when you ink up your art foamies, you want even coverage, right? The same with when you use rubber stamps or stencils, you want that even coverage. Okay, so here again, I am just going to use this to stamp some random squares. And then the kind of cool thing is that you can also use it, and you could choose different ones, whatever, but a lot of times I will also use it, just this edge, okay, to give myself some little, whatever, stripes, journal spots. I could take a darker color, or let's see, I have a green here. It is kind of mushy again, and go right over. So, you know, you're, again, layering. All right, and then here, and I will say my rainbow is a little, it's still a little wet, so let me swap that too. Also, I don't know if I really want it so linear, you know, so just give a little spritz. You can revitalize them a little bit with the alcohol also. Oops, no, I wiped off a little too much, but it's okay, right? You get the idea. And then I will also use it. I might have to re-ink, but you know what? I think I'm just going to cheat a little and make it mushy with my alcohol there. And then I'll use it to smooth this up. Well, not the best color. I guess it was still, had a little still of my other color on there, but that's okay. Get the idea. So that's how I made this background. And then of course I over stamped, or you could use your stencils, whatever you want. And again, a great background for your journal page, whatever you got going. Then the last thing, of course, that's also really cool, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep working on here. I'm going to load this up again with, let's use my Coral Fire. All right, then now I'm going to take this. Now you can take it clean, or you can take and clean and dry, or you could put a little color. If you do it clean and dry, you're going to suck up some of the color. I think this has a little pink on it, okay? But I'm just going to pull some of the color from that. And of course I can use this to stamp, which I will right here. Okay, and then I can also stamp this, which is going to give me a completely different look, because it did pull away and make a little bit of a resist, right? So here, like I did pre-stamp that one, you can see that was with the clean and dry stamp. So very subtle. And here I did the same thing on the squares. Now it's not, these are not finished because I would then, you know, take and color pencil or do some sort of work to make these stand out just a bit more, okay? And the same then goes for your small ones. If you have some smaller stamps, like here, oops, wait, clean my inky fingers. Yes, Catherine, me too. I need to, that should be an art foamy. So I'm going to clean, this is one of Willow Wonder's little eyeballs from her Evil Eye set. And let's try it on here. Again, I'm gonna spray a little alcohol on that. Hold it right on there. Okay. Well, I don't know. That didn't show up too well. Let's stamp it and just see. Yeah, it did it just a little bit. Can you see that? Kind of cool. Stamp one on this end too. But on these, I actually stamped in black right on there. Like so. Kind of cool, right? So, and then, so it does have that little bit of like resist. So that's up to you if you want to, you know, maybe take some other paint, gouache, you could colored pencil and sort of bring, you know, bring that out or make it recede. Do you know what I mean? So super fun, lots and lots of ways to use your ink foamies and your scrap buddies. And again, of course, you can use any inks with them, okay? I hope that, you know, that it helps you to realize their potential and that you will get out your ink foamies and have a little fun. Even if you don't use them necessarily to, you know, as an ink pad, they are really great stamping tools. So yay. All right, sneak peeks, and we will play the numbers game. I do have it ready. Here's the sneak peek if you are ready. Now, this is only because I'm excited. You know, let me just show you again that, hold on really fast. I'll be right back. I got to grab something. Sorry. Okay, so you all know that this is the June $5 stamp that goes with the freebie sticker for June. So anytime that you order through the end of the month, this is the sticker that you'll receive, whichever, it has been really popular, I will say. And then if you would like the sort of corresponding stamp, you can get it on our website this month for $5, okay? After June, the price goes up, and then the stickers will be available for sale, but then it'll, you know, but it won't be the freebie anymore. So I already, because I've really been trying to work ahead, me, as much as possible, we do have the new freebie and the new $5 stamp, and I'm so excited to share it with you that I'm gonna just give you a sneak peek because it's way too cute. And it is for July, so if you want to hold off till July 1st to get this, you can. But remember, there's going to be a lot more fun stuff coming still, too. Anyway, and the numbers game, the numbers on the back of this. This is our July freebie, and this is the freebie sticker. So that's going to be for July. And if you'd like to play the numbers game, we are giving away a set of ink foamy minis. If you win the numbers game, remember that it's a number between 1 and 100. The person that is first calling out their number that is the closest without going over will win. If you call out a number, please do not change your number, even if you see somebody else has it, because it's the first person that typed it in, okay? I'm going to say go. You can type in your number. I will call out your name and number so that you know that I saw it. It's 4:45 right now. You can go ahead and we will do this until 4:47. Sharon Robinson, number 8. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Sharon Robinson, number 8. Renee, 28. Amy, 4. Lulu, 28. Heather Bailey, 12. Sue Irvine, 76. Karina, 99. Linda Weber, 10. Kathy Berg, 15. Ron McFarlane, 44. Ginger, 11. Janice Sigmund, 6. D. Ray, 19. Patty's Vintage Shop, 32. Phyllis Rollins, 23. Pam, 4. Lydia Leonard, 19. Orange Spiral, 20. Stephanie Martin, 37. Megan Lochner, 81. Pancake and Lulu, 42. Lee Holman, 7. Kathy Whitney, 39. Ellen Bush, 77. Krabby Abby, 13. Sharon Everlyn, 24. Gail Foos, 18. Kathleen Hartley, 52. Jamie Hughes, 27. Catherine Guerrero, 68. Anna Lee, 49. Linda Finney, 61. Loretta, 47. Christine Schiaffo, 57. Janet, 21. Becky File, 56. Acme Post, 12. Kristen, 90. Dana, 42. Vera, 9. And Bernadette, 64. Nice to see you, Bernadette. And thank you, everybody, for coming and playing along. Any more numbers? Bernadette was the last one that I saw at 64. So no more numbers, or I'll say going once, going twice. It's 4:47. So no more numbers. Okay. We do, I think, have a winner. Let me look here. Can't remember the number I wrote. Oh, let me see if anybody did it. Oh my goodness. Let me go back through. I don't see a winner, but person closest without going over. Well, absolutely nobody got it, and everybody went over. Elsie was 17. So actually, we do not have any winners. Everybody went over. The closest person that to it, I don't want to have to recall numbers, so we will just say the closest person is Amy AG with number 4 because the number was 3. So we're going to call Amy the winner. How about that? And you know what? I saw somebody else with the number 4 also, Pam Shales. So we're going to send out 2 sets of ink foamy minis, one to Pam Shales and one to Amy AG. Okay? Let me write that down or I'll forget. I would like to ask you if anybody has any questions whatsoever about anything that I shared or showed or anything else. Thank you all so much for playing along. I hope that you still like our corny numbers game. Yay. All right. Let me turn this camera around. Any questions whatsoever, any thoughts, please continue to join me for ArtFoamies Fun Friday. We have so many fun things coming up. Now next week, you just get me again. We don't have anything new, but there are so many spotlights coming and a few great pop-ups still headed your way. Lots more foamies fun to have, okay? So and please also make sure that you are signed up for our newsletter so you can hear about all the fun goings on if you can't, especially if you can't make it to our ArtFoamies Fun. All right. Let's see. Yes. Oh, thank you, Bernadette. Thank you so much. Yes, this is the last week for Jack and Dana. Jack and Dana's spotlight will be taken off on Sunday, and you'll have one more week for Puffer, okay? I thank you all again so much. As I always do, I love you to the moon and back, and you know the deal. Stay safe, stay sane. Well, if you have to. And stay makey. I already said I love you to moon and back, but I'll say it again. Have a great weekend and see you next week. Bye, everyone.